Welcome, Cottage friends. I'm Lorna, your host with Cottage Necessities. And the reason I'm dressed like this is because today we're making a cottage pie. Now, I don't know the difference between a shepherd's pie and a cottage pie, except that I believe the shepherd's pie, since it's the shepherd's pie, they're going to have access to sheep or lambs, and so that's going to contain lamb. It's very similar the way it's made. And I've made it with ground turkey as well. But the cottage pie is made with beef. So today I'm going to use ground beef. It's 1 pound of ground beef. I got that in a wok, and I put a little bit of olive oil in there, about a tablespoon, and we'll get back to that in a minute, but we're going to let that get started. I'm using the wok today instead of my iron skillet, but normally I would use my iron skillet. And if you are using a cast iron skillet, you can always just do your pie, the whole thing in there, and put the whole thing in the oven and cook it in that. I'm going to be using my big white pie plate, because I like the way it looks. And then what I usually do is, if it doesn't get eaten in one meal, then what I'll do is put it in little packages and freeze it in little containers. So I've got all my fresh ingredients here. I've got beautiful fresh green beans, which I'm going to snap each one like this. And then I'm going to get them really small. I'm going to chop them super small, like bite-sized pieces. Oops, like that. So that's going to happen. And then I've got 2 kinds of mushroom. I've got white mushrooms and bella mushrooms. And I learned a long time ago, when you go shopping for fresh mushrooms, you want this area to be closed. You don't want it to be opened yet, because they're fresher if they're like this. So I picked all these by hand, and what I do is I remove the stem, and now you can save the stem in a jar and put it in the freezer for later when you make your vegetable scrap broth, or you can even make it while you're doing this and use it instead of water. But I take the stems out, and then I'm going to chop these up into little small pieces after I wash them. Then I've got 1 red onion. I'm only going to use half of this. And I've got a nice big head of cauliflower. Now this cauliflower, I just got it a couple days ago, and I'm getting little spots on it, so I'm going to cut those off before I grate it. I'm going to grate it in a bowl with this. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that, and I'll bring you over to the meat. We've got our meat browning with the mushrooms, the onion, the garlic, salt, and pepper, and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and some thyme. So now I'm just cutting out the stalk of this cauliflower. And I know you're supposed to bang it. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so just pulling this out. So I've got all these pieces here. Pulling those apart, getting those washed. Because I'm going to be grating these on the grater. Cut any little spots off that might have been on there. I gotta get my green beans ready. I'm not using all of the green beans that I have, just about, I'd say about a couple of handfuls. I think it's important to use your freshest ingredients. If you were in a cottage and you were going to make this, you'd probably use what you had on hand. If you dry your own vegetables or your own herbs, spices and things. Go out and get your beans out of the garden. So you want to try to use the freshest vegetables you have. You can do this on the fly and use frozen vegetables. I have certainly done that. That's hot. Cooking in its own juice. Looking really good. Cup of sour cream. About a cup. I think I just need a cup of ricotta cheese. We're going to mix that up real good. Cup and a half of grated cheeses. A pinch of ground nutmeg. If you grind your own, even better. Just about that much, just for some flavor. Now I'm leaving this purposely kind of bland because the other part is going to be more spicy. When the two come together, it's going to be the perfect combination. This is your broth that you made. I'm going to strain the vegetables out. That rich color, that's probably from the onion. Well, it's from the onion and the mushroom. So that gave me about 2 cups. And we can use this in our gravy. We're not going to add it yet, but we're not going to use all of it either, so you can always save it and use part of it later on in the week if you need a vegetable broth. In my other videos, you may have seen me make a roux in the pan, but we're adding this roux after we've already started sauteing our vegetables. So this is almond flour. I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of almond flour. And then we're going to mix about 1/4 cup of butter, or 3 tablespoons. Should have gotten a bigger bowl, I guess. We're just going to kind of smash it together and make a paste. Okay, that's nice paste. It's a nice creamy flour and butter paste. We're just going to add our flour paste. Into our mixture. A little bit of heavy cream. I just want to give that a little bit of time to cook down. I'm going to put just a bit of the liquid and turn up the heat. So that can thicken. Get some more gravy going. Used about 1/2 cup. It's delicious. Roast beef. Has that roast beef. Oh, it's like a sirloin. It's a beautiful, tasty. I'm just going to let that thicken up. It's got to cook down a bit. Okay, so our gravy's starting to thicken. I'm going to spray my pan, my little pan, with some coconut oil. You can use butter or olive oil, whatever you have on hand. I'm excited. This is going to be so delicious. I really hope you're going to try this. This recipe, it requires a little bit more of sort of cottagecore style cooking. You're making your own broth. You're using fresh vegetables, whether they're from your garden or you purchase them in a store. You still have to process those vegetables, chop them up, clean them, chop them up, and assemble the whole meal. So you're really going to feel good about this meal when you're done. Now the difference that I've always thought that shepherd's pie came with like a flour crust, and then cottage pie just was made without a crust. But I might be wrong there. If you know better, let me know. During the summer, all summer long, I drink iced tea, no sugar, no sweetener. And the reason it has kind of a sweetness to it is the way that I make it. I just put good filtered water into my little pitcher here, and then I add 4 or 5 just Lipton tea bags and let it steep on its own, and it comes out a nice rich color. It doesn't have any bitterness to it, so you really don't need sugar. So I hope you try that and have some iced tea with your cottage pie. really got this boiling now, so it thickens up that gravy. The gravy is getting thicker. With almond flour, it takes a little extra time, but just keep stirring it so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Okay, so you've stirred your meat, you've got your topping all prepared. Now we're ready to assemble. We've got our oven preheating to 375, which in European standards that would be about 160 Celsius or 375 Fahrenheit. Now I've got the meat all ready over here, and the gravy is nice and thick. I want you to see how it looks. That's about how it should look. Now I'm gonna put the camera down so you can watch me assemble it. So this is your gravy. You don't have too much in there, but it's fairly thick, so you can see the consistency of it. And this has been sprayed, and we're just going to put this in here. This is the easy part. Got our pie plate filled up, just kind of even it out. Now we're going to put our cheesy cauliflower on top. Now I like to leave like a little center area, and I like to leave a little edge where there's this doesn't go all the way to the edge, so that there's room for your pie to sort of bubble up and breathe, and it doesn't boil over. Now if you have a lot of topping like I do here, something else you can do with it, because you don't want your plate to boil over, which I'm pretty kind of famous for that, but you can cook this just like you can just bake this by itself in the oven. Add some salt and pepper to it and bake it in the oven in its own little pan on the side. I'm gonna see if I can, how much I can get on here. So I just kept a little bit of an opening here. Yeah, so we don't want it to go over the side. Another precaution that I like to do is put a foil lined pan, cookie sheet underneath this pan when it's in the oven on the second lower level, just because it could drip, and I don't want you to have to be cleaning your oven because of me. I've got 2 small ramekins. Okay, so I'm just going to spray one of those. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this up. Put some on its own. And we'll see how that goes, how that tastes. And there you have your beautiful pie. We're going to slip that into the oven and cook it until, well, we'll give it 30 to 40 minutes until the top crust looks kind of crusty and starts to brown. This has been resting for about 30 minutes. Now I'm going to cut it. Oh boy, does that look good. We'll take it over to the table so you can see it. Just delicious. Looks wonderful. Look at that gravy, cooked down really well. Can't wait to try it. Okay, here goes the taste test. We've also got our little ramekin here. We're going to try that too. Let's just give this a taste. The top is kind of creamy, but a little bit crunchy on top. Those mushrooms, green beans, and ground beef. It smells like a roast beef. This is the ultimate comfort food. Let's give it a taste. Because this is keto, we don't have one starchy vegetable in this dish. No potatoes, no peas or carrots. That makes it keto. We used almond flour instead of regular gluten flour. And let's see how this is. We do have cheese in it, so it's not vegan or anything. Let's taste this. This is like a little cheese souffle. You know, that tastes like mashed potatoes to me. I would even serve this as a side dish, like at Thanksgiving. Make up a side dish and serve that to your guests to go with their turkey. Or even make one of these cottage pies. Bon appetit. Hope you enjoyed this video. And next time, what I'm doing is I'm working on my office upstairs. So I've been painting, and I've got some pictures framed, and I'm getting the bedroom ready, and I'm going to have a lot of tips on how to declutter and tackle a space that's overwhelming, how to overcome overwhelm. So I hope you'll tune in next week. It's taken me a little longer to get that one going than I thought it would. And I'm getting these beans. I'm going to freeze the rest of these beans. I didn't use all of them. So I hope you'll tune in next time. Please try this recipe. Now I'm going to post the recipe below, but it may not be immediate as soon as I get this video posted. So keep a look for it, keep a lookout, and I'll get it up as soon as possible so that you can make it yourself, or you can just write everything down as we went along. That's a good way to do it too. Have a great day and take care, and thank you to all my new subscribers. I was surprised to see that I even got a couple of men now. I used to have 100% women. Now I have men. So I know you guys like to cook too, and you like a good savory dish sometimes. So please try these recipes. And I'm not exactly a cooking channel. I also do interior decorating, decluttering. I do a lot of craft projects, and I love to set the table. So tune in again, like and subscribe, and give me a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.